And I think we can start now. It's 4:05. Okay. So, yeah. Again, a very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining in. I know that you have certain queries. We have received certain queries on our WhatsApp, on our emails. I will be addressing all of them for today. So, the first one is the Learning Plan Completion Certificate. I know we had promised that you will be receiving an LMS link, but you have not received it till now. Do not worry, you will be receiving the link by the end of this week. And on that LMS, you are supposed to submit your learning plan completion certificate. Okay, let me make it clear if everybody can do that. No, only the team leader is supposed to submit the learning plan completion certificate for all the other team members. So are we clear with that? Learning plan completion certificate will come to you by the end of this week. That means you've already gotten an extension for your learning plan. Okay. Second is, I know and we have, all of us have received that some of the students are facing issues in section 2 of DA, the activities that you've been doing. So what we'll be doing is after this meeting, we will be sharing a Google form where you will be asked to put in the issue that you're facing on the platform and relevant screenshot of the same problem. Okay. Please do not put random pictures, irrelevant pictures in the form. Please make sure if you want this issue to get sorted that you put in the right picture and then we will look at it. Our team will look at it in the back end. Okay. So your second query is also sorted where you have been telling that, the progress is not being updated on the platform. I have answered all the questions correctly, but it's not showing up on the platform. So such queries and concerns need to be addressed through that Google form, which uska link abhi aapko share kiya jayega after this call. Okay. And I am repeating myself again. Please make sure that you open these WhatsApp groups and read through them. Okay. So please do not keep asking the same queries again and again. We've already addressed it in the messages already in the WhatsApp groups. So please keep a watch on the WhatsApp groups. Okay, so once we start the session, Anjali, your speaker and your mentor, she will be talking, of course, about the topics that have to be covered and the project that has to be submitted. So once she gives you the details of all these things, you have to start working on it because we will be collecting all these projects by 30th July. That will be your deadline for final deliverable. Okay. Yes, that was about it. I have talked about the Google form that you will be getting by the end of the call. You will be receiving the link to upload your certificates by the end of this week. So do not worry. And once this call is over, you will be getting to know what projects, what topics, probable topics you can work on. Please start working on them because 30th July will be the last date for the submission. Okay. Let's dive right into the session. Anjali, sorry if I took a lot of time. The stage is yours. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tanuja. And I feel the questions or the queries that you have taken, they were important to be addressed by this for the students. And I could see there are few messages from the students, like few of them I think have not been added to the WhatsApp groups. So please cater to that
So
if they
we'll,
are not yet added,
yes,
so that
yes,
they can go through all the updates that we have.
sure, sure.
Okay, good evening once again to all of you. My name is Anjali Chauhan. Many of you must have seen me in the last session, those who have attended my last masterclass 2 that I had with you, and few of you might be new to the session today. So I'll be your resource person for this particular session, and I'll be taking you forward with our third masterclass on data analytics, right? So in today's session, first, we are going to talk about what we have covered so far in the classes, I mean, in the sessions that we already had. After that, we are going to focus on today's agenda. What do we have in the plan for today? Okay. And on the basis of whatever we have covered up in the previous master classes and whatever do we have in the store for today, there will be some poll questions that will keep popping in between for you. So kindly answer those questions once these are posted in your chat groups, right? Now, today's focus will be on data visualization using one of the interesting tools called Power BI. So, we are going to focus on Power BI today. And as Tanuja mentioned, that other than the session that I have in store, I'll also be addressing your project needs. I'll be telling you what kind of projects can you create based on the topics we have covered so far. These projects are more of recommendations for you, but not mandatory at all. So, towards the end of the session, I'll give you a list of projects, a list of ideas that I have curated based on the things we have covered so far. And so that you're in a better position to take ideas from those project lists. In case you want to pursue something else, I mean, you want to create project on some other topic that has not been mentioned in the list provided by me, you are free to do that. But yes, if you want to have suggestions, we will be happy to address that with those suggestions. Other than that, your session might stretch a little bit today, but I'll try to finish it off on time so that you don't have to stretch further. But yes, if we stretch, we'll be stretching it by 10 to 15 minutes max, not more than that. So it's a request, please be in the session throughout, because understanding your project submission is very, very important, as this will be your final step towards your project creations and submissions along with your team members, right? So let's go ahead and see what do we have in the store for today. So like I mentioned that today we'll be focusing upon visualization of data. So far, when we were done with our masterclass 1 and 2, we gave you some introduction about the data, right? What is data? Then how you can get that data from various sources. Then there were certain initial screening of the data that we did in our last masterclass, which was second masterclass that we had, right? In that initial screening, I told you how to do the profiling of your data, like how to clean your data, right? How to remove the duplicates from the data. Then, on the basis of data, how you can have certain sort of insights, not complete insights that we went through, because we focused more on cleaning the data in that class. Other than that, we also focused upon one topic, which was linear regression, wherein we created a scatter plot, right? Now, we need to understand first that when we talk about visualization of data, why this visual analysis of data matters, right? Now, if I give you an Excel sheet, let us say, or any other data sheet where you have a large number of rows and columns, like if you remember the last data that we took had around 2000 rows, right? All had numbers, some text in that. So raw numbers sometimes become hard to interpret. So with the help of visuals, we always feel that it is easy for us to understand that data in the form of visuals, right? For example, when you were a child, the things that you have learned as a child, you must be remembering those things till date with that you have learned with the help of visuals, for example, numbers or letters or alphabets or some images of the animals and stuff like that. Because usually for younger children, we prefer things to be learned with the help of visuals, because visuals create a strong impact in your mind, right? So they help you to remember the things for a longer time. Same way, when we talk about data analysis, visual presentation of that data, or you can say visual representation of that data, makes it easy for you to understand and interpret that data. Then, second thing, if I need to find out certain patterns or maybe certain trends in that data, so my visual analysis helps me a lot in achieving that. And based on the patterns and trends that we have in the data, we can enhance our decision making process, right? It will help us to speed our decision making, whether it's in business or you are analyzing that data for the research purpose. And visuals help your communication in a better way. I mean, you will be able to communicate the thought process that you have behind that analysis, or the data that you have taken from the source you have fetched it from, how you have interpreted that data with the help of visualization. So your communication becomes better, right? So these are few important pointers where we see that visual analysis of data is extremely important. So quick recap, I already told you few things that we have explored in last session. And that we also had some statistical approach towards that data, wherein I told you how to calculate the mean, moon, median, etc. for that data. We developed scatter plot also. If you remember, scatter plot was to establish the relationship between two variables. It can be more than two as well, wherein one variable acts as an independent variable and rest of the variables, if there are more than two, I mean, in that case, rest of the variables are termed as dependent variable, right? We also learned how to create some linear regression model and then how to interpret that accuracy of the model by plotting the curve, then by looking at the value of R square that we have, mean square value that we have, right? So these are few things that we have covered. Now, before I proceed with the visualization part today, few questions that we will cater to from last session. So they will be coming up to you in form of a poll over here in the question form. Tanuja, I request you if you can just post that in the chat. And I request all the students, please answer those questions so that I can just simply see how much you are able to recall from the last session.
Anjali, just the first question for now, right?
Yes, yes.
Sure.
Okay, so the first question on your screen in the poll you can see is which is not a measure of central tendency. So I've given you options over here, mean, median, mode, and standard deviation. So you need to select the best possible output out of all the options given. So out of 576 responses, people who have so I can see there are around 600 participants in today's session, and we are getting the responses. And I can see all of you are responding with quite enthusiasm today. And that is great to see that many of you are responding. And more than 50% people have also marked the correct response as well. Those who are yet to mark their responses, they can keep marking. Standard deviation is absolutely the correct answer. Standard deviation is not a measure of central tendency, right? So that's a correct answer. Tanuja, if we can go for the second one, second question. Okay, next one says, which chart is best to show relationships between variables? I just covered up this one a few seconds ago, and I am hoping that all of you are going to give me the correct answer for this one. I can still see there is some sort of confusion among few students who are marking other options as well. So pie chart, bar chart, scatter plot, and line chart are our given options over here. And majority of you, 65% people over here have marked scatter plot so far. Okay, let us wait for a few more responses, then we'll go for our next question. %68% scatter plot, 7% are still in the pie chart region. Okay, 11 go for line chart. So scatter poll over here is the correct answer. You must be able to see the correct response as well. It is the absolutely correct answer over here. Let's go to the next question. Let us see what's the next question. Okay, what's the main purpose of data profiling? So in last session, we talked a lot about data profiling, right? That why do we need to clean the data, then how we can apply different features or different filters or variables to that data to have a better profiling. So you need to tell me, why do you want to do profiling of data? What's the main purpose? Oh, I'm happy to see that more than 80% of the score has gone for the right answer this time. So I can see 81% of you have marked summarizing structure and quality, which is absolutely right. Because once you have your data at a proper structure in a proper manner, and the quality of data is improvised with the help of profiling that data. So we can end this poll now, Tanuja. Thank you so much for posting the questions. Now, let us see what do we have in store. So I could figure out, although majority of you have marked correct responses to the questions that we have, and I am extremely glad to see that. But few of you still had some sort of dilemma, I guess, some sort of confusion related to the correct answer. So it would be preferred that please go through the session content. Tanuja must have shared the presentation with you by now of the last session, and recording, if not has been shared yet, must be shared soon or may have been shared already, right? So please go through that and just look what we have covered up in the session, in the previous session, I mean. And now let us go towards the uh, progress of this session. Okay, now here, first, we'll go with visualization of data in Excel today so that we can understand the basics, right? So far in Excel, you know how to import the data. Then after importing, how to load that data over here using that data option in MS Excel. Then how you can do the cleaning of that data, right? Removing unnecessary columns if you want to add some values, if you want to find out the missing values in your data, right? You want to segregate that data. So these are few things we have done. But in terms of visualization, we have not covered anything as such so far other than the linear regression plot and scatter plot that we did, right? So today we'll be focusing upon certain kind of charts that we can create based on the data available to us. Then how you can make use of filters if you want to change some colors, you want to change certain labels in those charts that are available. How do you do that? Then, when I talk about Excel chart making capabilities, I usually prefer it for small data sets, right? It's not like you cannot create large data sets using Excel, but yes, the best outputs that we get using Excel is preferably for small data sets that we have. Then, if I talk about the features in terms of data visualization in Excel, we encounter some limited interactivity, right? Why I am speaking about all these features? Because I'll be introducing you to a new tool today, which is Power BI. And I'll tell you what is that all about and how do you work with Power BI and stuff, right? So first we'll go with Excel basics. We will see that how you can improvise yourself in terms of data visualization in Excel. So before I begin with Power BI introduction, another question for all of you. Tanuja, if you can post the question for this one as well. So how would you rate yourself in using Power BI? I just want to see what's the base level of the students who have joined the session today. And I'll be taking the session forward from that, right? So let us see how many of you are proficient enough in using Power BI or you are totally new to the Power BI, right? Oh my God. Majority of the people have mentioned that they are a complete beginner in Power BI. I have never used Power BI before. Great. And few options where I can see like 1% of the people have responded, I'm an expert, I am proficient, only 2%. Few of you have mentioned you are comfortable, and 16% of you have mentioned so far that I know the basics, right? But because I have to look at the major chunk and I can see that majority of you are totally new to Power BI. So we will take the session from the very basics today in terms of Power BI. I mean, like how to download Power BI, where to download Power BI from, and then how you can proceed further with Power BI. Okay. So don't worry. If you don't know, please don't feel like that this is something which is going out of bounds and I'm not able to understand. I'll make sure that every step that I explain to you are able to understand what we are going through, right? At any point of time, if you feel that anything needs to be repeated at my end, you let me know, and then we will go in that manner forward. But one request to all the students, I most of the time observe that when we are in a session, especially session with the students, you are more interested in typing messages than understanding, right? So if you have queries, no issues, you can keep typing your messages, but please don't be repetitive in terms of typing the messages. In that case, you lose your focus and you are not able to pay attention to what is happening in the session. Okay. So after I give you the explanation, I give you the hands-on demonstration. After that, if you feel you still need to understand something one more time, I'll be happy to do that for you. Not an issue. So let's have a quick introduction about Power BI. Power BI is one of the tools provided by Microsoft which is related to data analysis and visualization. So here, BI stands for business intelligence, right? So it is a powerful tool nowadays for data visualization related. Now that data can be related to anything. That data can be used by people who are working in domains where they need to keep track of so many things on a daily basis. That data can be used by you as well as a student. Maybe you are utilizing the data for learning purpose. Like today, you will be working on some set of data, right? Or maybe you are utilizing and analyzing that data for some research purpose of yours. So you can make use of this tool by Microsoft to have an interactive data visualization using this platform, right? Then it converts your raw data into interactive dashboards. So today, what our focus is, after we finish up our Excel part, where I show you how to create charts in Excel, after that, we'll be moving on to Power BI to see what's the difference between these two platforms, right? And how you can compare in terms of the features and availability that you have over these two platforms. Then talking about handling large data sets, like I mentioned when I gave you the introduction for Excel chart and data visualization, that I would prefer utilizing or working with Excel on smaller data sets. But when we work with Power BI, you can process large data sets and you can even have data sets from multiple sources, right? So there is an example, real world example that I have mentioned, that a retail manager uses Power BI to track daily sales of their product, returns, and who are the top performing stores in terms of their products, where their products are being sold. So this way, this is one of the scenarios where we can make use of Power BI, right? So if I give you the comparison on a theoretical basis as of now, because we are yet to do the hands-on, in terms of ease of use, Excel charts you can find interesting, because if you are complete beginner in terms of creation of charts or maybe visualization of data, Power BI visuals are quite at a moderate level in terms of ease of use. Then data size handling we already have talked about. And when we come to the terms of interactivity, Excel charts are quite low in interaction as compared to the Power BI visuals. I'll tell you how when we go for the hands-on. Then dashboard capability with Excel, you can create a dashboard, but that will be a basic kind of dashboard. To make it a more interactive kind of dashboard, you have to apply and process a lot of things. But when I talk about Power BI, it's absolutely a no code tool. So even if you are being a non-tech student, don't know how to code, so you can learn Power BI without coding as well. There is no mandatory requirement that you need to have understanding of some of the programming language. So don't worry, even if you don't know, you are good to go with Power BI. Then auto updates with Excel, you have to update it manually, but with Power BI, it is not the case. The real time refreshment keeps taking place. So all the updates have been installed automatically in terms of Power BI. And in collaboration, I mean, in terms of file sharing, for Excel chart creation, you need to share the file individually or maybe to the people whom you want to share your file with. But in terms of Power BI, you can collaborate in real time. You can publish the dashboard. For example, let us say I work in an organization where I have too many colleagues, right? So I want some of my colleagues or few of my colleagues to work along with me on the dashboard that I am creating using Power BI. So that is possible with the help of publishing your dashboard. I'll show you all these things, how do these happen and why we are giving more references towards Power BI as compared to Excel charts. So once we go over there, then I'll tell you. Before creating charts, we need to understand that how you choose the right chart type. So in Excel, you must have noticed there are many type of charts that we can create, right? Scatter plot was one that we created. That was also a kind of chart that we plotted over there. And we know that scatter plot is created when you want to establish the relationship between two or more than two variables. Same way, if I go about a bar chart or a column chart, we usually make use of bar chart or column chart for comparing certain quantities across a specific category, right? I'll show you how to create that and why do we create that. Then line chart we create for showing the changes over time. For example, I have a sales data and I want to show that over the period of time, how my sales of this particular product have progressed, right? Whether the sales have decremented or the sales have incremented. So I can make use of a line chart to show that kind of change over a period of time. Then when you want to have some proportion visualization, then you can go for pie chart, like out of 100%, this much percent is aligned to product A, this much percent is aligned to product B, and so on and so forth. So you can make use of a pie chart. So depending upon the kind of analysis or the kind of outcome you wish to achieve, we will be creating the required kind of chart. Okay. Few things about the charts. Then to this, we will go once I start with the hands-on. So let us go to Excel now. First, we will work with Excel. I'll show you how to work with that. And then I'll take you to Power BI from the very basic, starting from where to download the Power BI from. And we will go with the hands-on along. Okay. So let me just share the Excel screen now. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Tanuja, if you can please confirm. Any of the students who can tell me?
Anjali, so it's not showing the slideshow, but it is showing your
Excel
presentation.
sheet. Excel sheet is it showing?
No,
Not.
no,
Oh,
it's
oh,
showing your slide presentation.
let me show it. Visible now?
Yes, an Excel sheet is visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, over here, I have taken a data. This data is from a random company where the company is dealing with production of different varieties of chocolates as the product. So they are dealing with production of those chocolates and selling of those chocolates, okay, along different countries. So you can see in this data, first we have the salesperson column, wherein whosoever is responsible for that particular country that has been mentioned over here. Then the country, the name of the product, date is also mentioned, then amount, the sale, I mean the sales that have taken place, and how many boxes of that particular item have been shipped. This is what the data is all about. Now, if I show you the entire data, this entire data is of 1,000 rows that we have in total, right? Around 1,000 rows that we have in total. So we will be working on this sample data set today. I will be using the same data set both for Excel and Power BI just to show you the comparison, because if I'll take different data sets, the visuals might be somewhat changed, right, in both the platforms. So I'll be making use of the same data set. Now, here in this data set, as it is a huge data set containing 1,000 rows, more than 1,000 rows, in fact. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make use of a data analysis tool over here, which is pivot table. How many of you have used pivot table before in Excel or heard of pivot table? Or maybe let me reframe the question. How many of you know how and why to use pivot table in Excel? Okay, I can see few hands being raised. Great. So few people, but those few people are also very few. If I go towards the total number of people who are in the session today, even if you have not looked into pivot table earlier, not an issue. I'll tell you how to use that. So let me tell you first the purpose of using a pivot table. So basically, we use pivot table in Excel to have your data analysis and visualization. Okay, that is the purpose of using a pivot table, because when you work on large data sets, in Excel, without using pivot table, it becomes quite complicated to create the chart. For example, if I go for this entire data set, let us say I have selected this entire data set. Okay. Now, when you go to this insert option over here, and I go for chart, let us say I go for this one. Just a minute. Maybe a line chart. Can you see? There is a message on my screen. The maximum number of data series per chart is 255, right? So it is not catering to such a large data set if I try to create the chart in a normal way like we usually do in Excel. So what am I going to do? I am not going to go this way. I am going to create a pivot table for the same to analyze and then have the visualization of the entire data that is present with me. So how to do that? Inside the same option, at the ribbon that you have where you have file, home, and rest of the options, in insert, you will see the first option over here called pivot table, right? There is another option also which says recommended pivot table. Now, what is the difference between the two? Recommended pivot table basically will give you the options of the kind of pivot table that you can create based on the data that we have, right? So the recommendations can change on the basis of the kind of data that you use for your analysis. I am not going for the recommended one because then it will be easy as in it will straight away show you how the pivot table is. I want to tell you from the scratch how to create it. So I'll click on pivot table. Now, the moment you click on pivot table, after clicking on insert, it is going to ask for the table range. It has automatically selected because I have selected the entire data. Okay. Now, it says choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. If I want the pivot table to be placed in a new worksheet, I can choose that. If I want to be placed it in an existing worksheet, I can do that as well. But for the existing worksheet, you need to mention your location. Location as in where in this entire worksheet you want to place your pivot table to be. Right now, I'm not doing that, but I'll show you in a while from now how to use that existing worksheet column. Right now, I'm going to click on new worksheet. Okay. And I'm going to click OK over here. So you can see this was my data sheet. And this is a new sheet with the name of sheet 2 that has been created over here. Now, please pay focus. Please pay attention. Now here, towards your right, you will see pivot table fields towards the right of my screen. The columns that we had in the data earlier, salesperson, country, product, date, everything is over here, right? Now, the first pivot table that I want to create is, I just want to see as per the country, how many boxes of those particular items have been sold. So what am I going to do? Every chart or graph that you plot, 2D, I mean, it has two axes, x-axis and y-axis. So I need to give the values to those x-axis and y-axis. I mean, what will be plotted on x-axis and what will be plotted on y-axis. So have a look over here. Whatever field out of all the given fields you want to have on the x-axis, for x-axis, you will put your values in rows, okay? And for y-axis, you will put your values, you will put the value, I mean the field in values column. So let us say for the rows column, I want to go for country. So can you see the moment I have dragged country to the rows, you can see one column for row labels that has been created. So I have not given any label over here. If you want, you can edit and write country. Okay. Right now, I'll keep it as such. Now, for the second one, I wanted to see the number of boxes shipped. So I'm dragging this column and putting it in values. Now, can you see two columns have been created? There is no visualization as such that has been created by me. I have only created the rows and columns so far. Okay. Now, let me go to the visualization part. So for these two columns, either I can have a bar graph, I mean bar chart, or I can have a column chart because these are two columns as of now. So let me just go for a column chart to see the numbers that have been gone through in all these countries. Okay, so what am I going to do? Whenever you want to create the chart in the pivot using the pivot table, you just click inside that pivot table, anywhere inside that pivot table. And when you click on insert, you have these chart options over here, right? In these chart options, you have to select the chart of your choice. Okay. So for this one, I am going for this option, which is a column chart and bar chart. You can select any one of your choice. Let me pick up the column chart for now. So the moment I clicked on column chart, you can see a chart has been plotted over here. Right? Let me just maximize to give you a better view. So on x-axis, you can see countries have been mentioned. On y-axis, sum of boxes shipped. Because if you see the data, it's not only that India has been mentioned only once or Australia has been mentioned only once. So whatever number of times these countries have been mentioned, the total is showcased to you in the pivot table. So if you compare these bars, you can see Australia has the highest number of boxes that have been shipped. Right? Same way you can compare for other. Now coming to this visualization where you, so far what we have done is I just created a pivot table using insert pivot table option in my original data sheet. Then I have created my first chart, column chart over here to see how many boxes have been shipped in one particular country. Okay, total number of boxes I mean. Now, when you go to settings over there on the right hand side, choose fields to add to report, right? In the settings, right now, we are not making any such change. I'm not going to do it. But the only thing that you can do, if you want to sort it A to Z, you can do that, right? Right now, I'm just keeping it as it is because I wanted to go from highest number over here just to show you how does it happen. Okay, before I proceed further, any doubt over here to anybody? Anything that you have not understood, any step that you want me to repeat? If yes, please let me know. Because after this, whatever we will be doing, it will be progression of this first step, right? So it is important for you to understand this first step so that we can proceed further. Okay, there is a request for repetition. So I will repeat, not an issue. So I'll just go to my original data sheet. This was the original data sheet that we took, the sample data sheet. In this, what I did is, because my data set is quite a huge data set of 1,000 rows. So instead of plotting the chart directly, because it can take a maximum range of 255, I am not able to do that. So what I did, I went to insert and used the analysis and visualization tool in Excel, which is pivot table. Okay, I clicked on that. I clicked on the first option from table or range because I have an entire table of data set. This range was automatically selected as I selected the entire data. Then I chose a new worksheet option over here for placing my pivot table. Okay. And then clicked on OK. So the moment I did that, you can see some sort of worksheet like this will be created with a blank pivot table. Now, after I had this blank pivot table, what I did was I need to add fields to my pivot table to see what kind of table or chart, what kind of chart do I want to create, right? So for rows, whatever I want to plot on x-axis, I'll put it under rows column. So for rows, what I did, I just dragged these fields, country field, and put it under rows. So you simply need to drag the field that we already have in the data for whatever you want to plot the chart. Okay. Then I wanted to see for every country how many maximum number of boxes have been shipped. So I just dragged it in the values section and you can see the kind of pivot table being created. Then to draw the chart out of it, you have analyzed the data so far, but you have not visualized this data. So for visualization, we have to have certain kind of visuals on the screen, right? So what I did is I just clicked anywhere inside this pivot table, again went to insert and chose the kind of chart that I wish to have. So I wanted to have this column chart. I just clicked on it. I just picked it up and then you can see the kind of chart on my screen. Okay, this is first thing that we have done. So I'm coming to the original chart that I created over here. Now, if you want to, let me just select this chart. If you want to have some kind of formatting in the chart. So there is a format option given wherein you want to change the style, you can change the style. So you can see over here now, I can see the countries and I can see the maximum number mentioned inside those bars or those columns, right? So you same way, you will have multiple styles for showcasing your chart. You can pick any one of your choice. If you want to have it in a darker format, you can have it in a darker format as well. Other than that, if you want to change the color, so here you see the color schemes, right? So you can even change the colors from here to have your visuals more appealing approach towards the people who will be utilizing this or who will be looking at your reports and trying to understand what you are creating. So this way you can have the changes, you can format and have some changes in the things that you are creating over here. I hope I'm clear till here. Now coming to creating another kind of chart using the same data. Now I'll just minimize it a bit because I need to adjust another chart as well over here. So going back to my data sheet, I'm deleting the sheet 3. I just restarted everything for the demonstration purpose. So I don't want to have any kind of confusion for you. Now here again, we will select the entire data. We'll go to insert, we'll go to pivot table. Same thing. This time, I am not going to work on a new worksheet. Reason, if I'll create new worksheet every time, it will be difficult for the person who will be looking at my report because he or she have to navigate between different tabs to understand what I have created, right? They will go back to the data, then they will see, then they will come back, right? So this way it will become difficult for them. So what am I going to do? We will click on existing worksheet. Now it is going to ask you the location. For right now, existing worksheet means the current worksheet that I have on the screen, but I don't want to have it on the current worksheet, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to my sheet 2. Can you see the moment I selected sheet 2 over here, in location, sheet 2 is automatically selected. Now I have to click on a particular column or a cell, I would say, where your data chart will be created. So let me just pick it this G column over here, G3 or maybe H3, and I'll click on OK. Now I have a pivot table in the same sheet. I am not going to create any new sheet. Now this time what I want to see is, I want to see as per the product level, how many boxes of that particular product have been sold across all the countries. Okay, I'm not mentioning to any specific country. So what am I going to do? I am going to pick up the values now. So I want to have boxes shipped in the rows. Okay, and the what do we want to see? That how many boxes for product have been sold. Now here you can see the boxes shipped and the product being sold over here. Just a bit. Let me change one of the parameters over here. So you can see the product names over here, right? Like mini chop choco, peanut butter cubes, and so on. And boxes shipped numbers over here. So here, when we go this way, let me rechange the columns. Yes, one more thing. If you want to remove any of the columns, I mean, any of the values that you have added, you can do that by simply clicking on that and clicking on remove field, right? So it will be removed. Okay. So you can see now in the rows column, what I did, I wanted all the product names and what is the sum of total boxes shipped for that particular product that has also been listed over here, right? Now, again, time to create the pivot table. This time, I'm going to create a different chart. I will be creating, let's say, a bar chart. Column chart we have already created. So same process we'll be following. We will go inside that pivot table. Again, go to insert, click on the choice of your chart. So I am clicking on this one. I'm not picking column this one. This time I'm going to pick bar chart. So you have option like clustered bar. You want to have another kind of stacked bar. You want to have 100% stacked bar. 100% stacked bar are sometimes difficult to understand because you can see all the bars are appearing similar, right? Because it is in the form of percentage. So I'm going to go for this. So this is my second chart visualization that I have created. Same thing, you want to format, you can do that. If you want to change the style, so you can see here the number, because the products are too many, so that is why you can see a lot of bars coming to you. You want to change the color, let me change the color a bit. Let us keep it this way. So if I'll just show it to you by improvising over here, you can see, okay, the bars have been plotted. So in the first one, I plotted countries versus the number of boxes sold. In the second one, I plotted sum of boxes, product versus the sum of boxes sold over here. Okay, two charts created so far, column chart and bar chart. Now let me minimize this one also, just to adjust it somewhere over here. So this is the first one that we created. This is the second one that we created. Now let us try to create one more because I minimized. So you are able to see everything in quite small presentation over here because I just wanted to show you how everything looks aligned at one place, right? Now, let me just try putting it here. So you can see you are not even able to copy and paste it over areas, right? Because it says make sure copy and paste areas don't overlap unless they are of the same size and shape. So you also need to make sure while you are copying and pasting that you are copying and pasting at a proper place and within the proper space. So copying and pasting anyway doesn't matter a lot. Thing that matters is how to create the visualization. Now going to the third kind of chart. Again, we'll go back to the data. Insert, pivot table, from table, existing worksheet. Now I'll go to the next worksheet. I'll pick up another column. Let us say I pick up this column over here this time and clicked on OK. So now we have our third pivot table. This time I want to see how my sales have progressed over time. Okay. So here for time, I mean, we have one field which is date. So I'll fix it up in rows. And for this thing, the second thing, where I want to see the sales, I have another field called amount, right? Now here, if you see over here, the moment I selected date, you have too many things coming, like the day, date, and month, everything, because date is a combination of all those things, right? And here in my values column, I am going to pick amount. So you can see now there is another pivot table created with rows having dates and amount, I mean the total sales that happened, having the numbers over here. Now what we are going to do, can anybody tell me when we create such kind of visualization where you want to see the progress over time for certain particular things, what kind of chart can we plot? I just showed you when we were discussing in the presentation. What kind of chart can we plot? Line chart, absolutely. So we are going to create a line chart this time. So same process we'll be following. Go to insert, then select the charts that you wish to have. So over here, I want a line chart, right? So if you want to have a 2D plot, you want to have another kind of plot. So there are different ways of plots that you can see over here, line with markers. So you can pick up any one of your choice. Let us say I go for this one. Now here you can see, right? So initially in the month of Jan, you can see the sales have gone high. Then sales have decreased a little towards the month of Feb. And this is how the entire chart has progressed. So this way you can create any kind of chart using Excel also, depending upon the kind of data that you have, right? But one thing to be noticed over here, let me just minimize this one also and put it somewhere over here. I'm just hiding that data for a while. One thing I want to show you is if I click on any of the particulars in these charts that I have created, these are not going to affect another particulars of another chart. For example, let us say I clicked on this one, this particular one, or if I want to select this India bar over here. So can you see there is no change or there is no reflection in rest of the two charts that we have created, right? It is not highlighting anything. It is not changing anything. Nothing is happening. But when I'll give you the demonstration for Power BI, things like these happen. Power BI has that interaction component wherein all the kind of charts that you will be creating, they are going to give you a full view of what is happening in other visualizations too. Okay, so before we proceed over there, few more things that I wanted to show you. Now we all know how to make use of filters, right? I told you in last session also how to make use of filters. Now let us say I have selected this particular chart that we have created and I want to have some sort of filter over here. There is an option called slicer. Can you see on my screen, insert slicer, where my cursor is moving right now? Once I click over here, it is going to ask me, what slicer do you want? Now let me say I want to have country and I press OK. Now, what is the slicer and what is the purpose of a slicer? Slicer is actually a visualized way in which any person who is visualizing your reports can see what kind of filters that person want to have. Let us say I have created this entire data, and at the backside of it, I have put in filters to that data. For example, if I go to this data and I want to have create some kind of filters over here, like I'll just create filters. Now here, if I filter it by the country of India, and you can see these are the salesperson of respectively for India, and this is how the sales are going on, right? But anybody who will be viewing at your reports, looking at your reports, needs to check what kind of filters have you applied. But in case of Slicer, they can see on screen, they can see on your dashboard that, okay, this is the slicer that you have created, on the basis of which they can go for filtration and understand the reports in a better way. So let us say I select Canada over here. Can you see? In the first column chart that I created, only Canada is visible out of all the columns that we had. So this is a kind of filter that I'm applying, but it's a visual filter. You can see on screen, right? Same way I go for New Zealand. Now you can see it's New Zealand that is being highlighted. If I'll click on India, so India will become highlighted along with the total number of boxes shipped. Now, this way you can create slicers for your other charts also. If you want to have a slicer over here, now can you see, even if, let me just maximize this one a little bit. Even if I am selecting any of the countries, nothing is happening. Reason? Because in this chart, countries have not been mentioned. You have taken product and number of boxes sold. So if I want to have a slicer for this one, you need to include another slicer, or in this slicer only you need to add few things, right? If you can add another column, then you need to do. Now, the moment I removed my slicer back again, this is the funnel shape thing, which is used for clearing the filter. You can see the chart is back in the original form, right? So the slicer that you created for your first chart was not applicable to the second one because they were not having the same column. I mean, the same verticals that have been placed in the first one. I hope till here I'm clear to everybody how to create charts using Excel, how to make use of pivot table. If you want to have any kind of filters, now I'll show you, I showed you the slicer thing. I'll show you how to apply filter. So I have selected the second chart as of now. Here, I want to have some sort of filter. So if you see towards the right side, it says drag fields between areas below. So if you want to have a filter, let us say we want to have a filter with product. So you can see the total number of products over here. The entire chart area has changed, right? If you want to remove this field, you can remove that, but filter will not be removed. We have not removed the filter as of now, right? So you can undo, come back to the original chart that we had initially, and this is how you can work with these data. So this is the original chart that we had. So just to summarize what I told you so far, I told you I took a sample data set. With the help of that data set, I told you how to create the pivot table using Excel. Then using those pivot table, how you can create the visualizations of your data. Like I created 3 type of different charts. The same kind of charts I am going to show you in Power BI just to give you the comparison and how Power BI differs in terms of Excel. I mean from Excel. Okay. After that, we also saw how you can create a slicer, how you can add filter, and how you can format your visualized data. I mean, how to change the color, if you want to change the style or appearance, how to do that. So we have created a small dashboard as of now, as far as Power Excel is concerned. Okay, before I proceed further to Power BI, any doubt to anybody? Anyone having any sort of confusion? Okay, slicer needs to be repeated again. I can see one request over here. Slicer and filter part needs to be repeated. Okay, one good question that I can see from Ritik. After that, I'll repeat slicer and filter part for you. How to decide what should be in the row and what should be in another? What should be in the next thing. So you need to decide on the basis of what do you want to see. Like I said, for the first one, I wanted to see which country has sold how many boxes of the particular item or the total number of boxes. So my independent variable will be country over here because I want to see for the countries. That is why I put it in the XO. I mean the x-axis. Same way you need to decide. Like for the line chart, I wanted to see over the period of time how my sales have progressed. So my date or the time that must have been mentioned in the data was the primary factor for me. So on that basis, you decide. Okay. Another query to repeat slicer and filter. Let me just repeat it one more time. So I have selected this particular chart, right? Now we want to create the slicer for it. So here, when you select this particular table over here, this chart, you have this option of insert slicer. Now, when you go to insert slicer, it is going to ask you on what basis you want to slice. Slice is nothing but filtering your data, but the visual representation way. I mean, you are able to see what you are filtering. So let us say I want to go for country filtering over here and I pressed OK. So it will automatically create the slicer with all the country names. Okay. The moment I select any country, USA, the same country and the number of boxes sold will be highlighted. Number of boxes shipped will be highlighted. Same way, if you go for another country, that will happen. Now coming to filter, when you want to remove it, so you can see this funnel icon over here with a cross sign, it means clearing the filter. So the moment I crossed it, original chart is going to come back. This was slicer. Filter, you don't need to create it separately as such. I mean, as a slicer we have created, you can simply select that particular chart over here. Let us say I have selected this one. And here you have this filter option in this right side panel that you have, right? So the moment you are going to see anything, you are going to put anything over here, you can do that. So here I had the amount. So let us say I pick up this amount in filter and put it over here. Now you can see there is some sort of representation that has changed. You can also have the filter settings. If you go to field settings from here, you can change the settings. Like if you want to change the amount, you want to change the layout and print. So same way you can have certain settings over here, make the changes accordingly. So filter option is already given to you. For slicer, you need to create that. I hope everything is clear so far. Okay, if we are good to go, then let's take few minutes of break, 3 to 4 minutes of break. We'll come back. And after this, we are going to go to Power BI. Please don't drop at all. Power BI, I am sure it is going to be a very useful tool for you. And once you learn how to do Power BI, at least you learn the basics in today's session, you will feel that urge that I want to learn this tool little more. Okay. So please be here for another 1 hour or 1 hour, 10 minutes max, and we will see how to work with Power BI. Yes, Varsha, you can use slicer to move between sheets as well. So in that case, we need to sync the slicers to navigate from one page to another. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, I hope all of you are here only. I can see certain messages being popped up in the chat. Which college are you from? And people are mentioning the colleges. Okay, so we can stop all these messages now. Coming back to the next segment of this session where we are going to talk about Power BI. Okay, so I would request Tanuja or Milin, if you can just post the link of downloading Power BI. So for downloading Power BI, where you need to go, let me just share the screen one more time. Then I'll show you how you can download Power BI. Okay, let me just open it up one more time. So I'm going to tell you this for the desktop version. We have the mobile version for Power BI as well. You can take that also, but it is always preferred to have such things over your desktop or maybe at a screen which is larger than a mobile screen to have that visualization in a better way. Let me just share my screen. So Tanuja has already shared the link of Power BI platform for you where you can download it from. Now, once you click on this link, this is the page that you are going to be redirected to. Okay. So as I mentioned already during the course of presentation that this is a platform by Microsoft. So the web address for the same is powerbi.microsoft.com. Now, once you reach to this link, here you will see something called as products at the top, right? So when you click on product, you have Power BI over here. Now it is going to give you different versions like Power BI for desktop. You want to have a pro version of that. You want to have a premium version of that. Today we are going to go with the free version. I'm not going to tell you anything about the paid version. Features and functionalities improvise a little bit when you go for the paid version. But right now, for practice, for the demonstration purpose, we will go for the free version only, right? So here you will see everything related to Power BI. Like as many of you are new to Power BI and you want to go with this get started option, you can see. So for downloading, you will go to products, you will go to Power BI and click on desktop. Okay. Once you click over here, you will see this next screen, next tab over here, which is Power BI desktop, and you can click on download now. Okay. Now you click on download now and it will be downloaded to your system. I'm not downloading it again because I already have it in my system. I'm just going to show you how it is going to look like once you download it in your system. I hope till here, no confusion to anybody. Link has already been provided to you. You can simply go to that link and then download your Power BI for the desktop option, right? Now, once you download Power BI, let me just minimize this screen here. This is how you are going to see it on your screen, right? Now, let us understand the interface of Power BI. Then I'll show you how to work with the data using Power BI. Now, here at the top, you will see the ribbon, which is almost similar that you saw in Excel, right? So if I click on file, you will see the options accordingly. If I click on insert, you will see the options accordingly, same way. Now, right now we are at home. This is our home screen for Power BI. In Power BI, you have sign in option as well, right? That remains in Excel also. So that is for real-time collaboration and sharing. So if we work within the same organization and we want people to collaborate along with us in real time, you can sign in, you can make use of sign in over here with your work ID or like right now you're studying, so with your college IDs, and then we can have the real-time sharing. I'll tell you how to do that. Other than the ribbon that we have at the top, you can see this center area that has been bordered by these dotted lines. This is called the canvas area of Power BI, where you will see all your visualizations, right? So this will be your entire dashboard that we will be creating. Okay, second thing. Third thing, towards your right, you have something called as filters. Then you have visualizations. And towards the end, you have data. So once I expand that data bar or data panel over here, you can see right now, I haven't uploaded any data. I haven't imported any data. So you can see it this way. Visualization, they have already given you many chart options that you can create with the help of the data that you will be having it over here. So let me quickly tell you how to have the data. I mean, how to upload the data, and then we will go further. So there are options given to you. Import data from Excel, import data from SQL Server, paste the data in a blank table. If your data, sometimes your data is not readable by the platform. So you can simply paste your data, or you can make use of some sample data also. Okay. Now, if I click on import data from Excel, you can see the options over here. So I'm picking up the same data that we picked up in Excel. I'm going to use the same data over here. Okay. Now, once I chose the data, it is going to show me the preview of my data. If you remember, this is something similar to Excel, wherein we were importing the data using that data import option in Excel. Now, this is the preview of my data. You can match, it is the same data that I took over there. I will simply load the data. If you take data from some other source where the data is not the clean data, I mean the profile data, and you want to clean that data, then in that case, you can also click on the option of transform data to maybe to remove certain columns or to have any other kind of changes. Right now, this data is already cleaned, so I don't want to have any kind of transformation. I'll simply click on load. Okay, now my data has been loaded. If you see towards the right, it is still loading. It will take some time. Just a minute. Okay, now if you look towards the right panel, you can see data. And when I click over here, it is going to show me all the fields that I had in my data, right? Like salesperson, product, date, everything is mentioned over here. Now let's start creating the visualization. So we have done step 1 and step 2. Step 1, I showed you how to download Power BI. Step 2, I just showed you how to import your data. Okay. Now, I want to have the column chart. I'm going to create the same charts that I created in Excel to give you a better comparison. Now here, when you hover your mouse over the kind of visualizations that we have, it is going to give you the name of those charts, right? Like first one is a bar chart, second one is a column chart. This way you can see many type of charts available to you. So let me click on the column one. The moment I clicked, it started appearing over here. I am just resizing it a bit to give you a better view. Now, again, you need to check the fields that you want to have. So on x-axis, if you remember the first column chart that we prepared, on x-axis, I had country, right? So the same thing I will be picking over here. Same process. You just need to drag the field, add it to x-axis. Now, for y-axis, we had boxes shipped. So I'm going to go for y-axis. Can you see? The chart has been plotted real quick. No pivot table, nothing was required. I simply selected the chart. I simply took up the fields that I wanted to have in my chart. And this is how you get your chart done, right? Too easy. Formatting options you have over here as well. So where do you format it from? So in your visualizations pane, the first one was the kind of visualization that you are able to see right now. Second is format visualization. Now here you have all sorts of options. Like if you want to have any change in the x-axis, you want to change the color, you can see from gray it has changed to. If you want to increase the size, you can do that. You can see the changes. The moment I keep doing the changes, you will be able to see all those changes over here. Same way, if I want to go for y-axis, just to make it a little more visible, you can do that as well. Sorry. So over here, you can go for title, right? Now, wherever you want to make the changes, you can keep selecting those changes. I just wanted to show you one change over here, which was related to columns. So here in columns, if you want to change the color of those columns, you can do that. Right now, let me pick up this one. And if you want to apply it across few countries, you can do that as well. If you want to apply it across all countries, you can do that. Another thing, transparency is one of the features that have been given over here. If I increase this transparency to 100%, you can see the Canada bar has totally disappeared, right? Now, if I come back, make it 0%, Canada bar is again here. Let me color Canada in some different color. So you can have multiple color columns also by selecting the category on which you want to apply your format, right? So if I want to go for, let us say, India, and for India, I want to keep the color as pink. So you can see, this is how you can have better visualization in terms of changing the colors of individual bars. And here you did not even need to learn how do I make use of pivot table. You can simply pick up your data, because here you do not have any limitation on the data being plotted. Like if you remember when I showed you the Excel thing, there, when I started creating the chart in a basic way, there was a message popped up on the screen that it can take only maximum 255 values. But here it is not the case. So that is why you are able to create it real quick and easy. So first chart has been created. Now I'll just, I'll just resize this one to show you how to create another chart, and we will bring it over here. Now coming to the second chart. So second chart was a bar chart that we created. So same we are going to create over here. Now I'm going to select the bar, it converted into a bar chart because I did not move out of it. I mean, this chart is still selected and I selected bar chart. That is why it converted into a bar chart. So you can have the conversion also if you want to have. Now I came out of it. Now I'll select the bar chart. So here you can see bar chart now. So in y-axis, what am I going to do? I'm going to have my boxes shipped. And on x-axis, I wanted to see on y-axis, I will have my number of boxes that have been shipped. And over here, I am going to see the product. Now, can you see? Here, I have all the products mentioned. Let me just maximize again. And I have sum of boxes shipped. Again, if you want to have the visualization changed, from here also, you can change the bars. You can have some individual settings for some particular bars. Or if you want to change the entire color, you can change the entire color also, depending upon you. Other than that, if you want to provide them a border, you can do that as well. Right now, border settings have been kept off. Let me keep it on. You can provide them with a border of some different color. You can also increase the width of that border. So you can see now it has been bordered. Let me decrease a little bit. Right? If you want to change the layout, if it is possible to be changed, they will give you an option. Like right now, you can see it says reverse order. This only applies to charts with multiple series, sort by value. This also applies to certain categories. So if there will be a change in layout, I mean, it can be changed, options will become active. If it cannot be, you will see these are inactive options over here, right? If you want to have some sort of background over here, you want to browse and have any background for yourself. So you can pick some background also. Okay. Right now, I'm not picking any background. So what I did so far, I created two charts over here. One is a bar chart, one is a column chart. Now, let us have a look at some other things which we did not see in Excel. Now, if I click on Canada from here, can you see? There is a corresponding change in the second chart. Now, what is happening? So I selected the country Canada. Now, in my second chart, whatever products have been shipped to Canada, their numbers are highlighted over here. For example, the third one is eclairs, right? So when you put your mouse cursor over there, it is going to show you which product is it, how many number of boxes have been shipped, and how many are highlighted over here. So this way, there is an interaction factor in Power BI, which we did not see in Excel. You must have realized when in Excel, I was clicking on one thing, nothing was changing in another chart, right? But here you see that interaction happening live in front of you. So this is one of the important features, and I would say one of a very good features of Power BI, that you can see the corresponding insights in all the data visualizations that you create. Second thing. Now, again, if you want to go for any other specific country, you can see the changes will happen correspondingly, right? And once you select it one more time, just click it outside, the charts are going to appear in the normal manner. What am I doing right now? I am trying to create a Power BI dashboard with all the kind of visualizations possible. Okay. Now, third visualization that I want to have, third kind of chart You remember we created line chart. So I'm going to create line chart over here. I created this line chart. Again, I needed to add the field. So I wanted to see my progress over time. So I added date and I added amount in y-axis. Now, can you see there is only a single dot that you can see, because right now it is showing you, let me just maximize this one as well. Right now it is showing you sum of amount by year. Now, if I give you a look of the data that we are using, year is same in the entire data. It is 2022, right? Months are changing, dates are changing, but years are same. So that is why it is showing you only one staggered point. Other than that, one more thing that you need to focus upon here, I just minimize a little bit. The moment you create a line chart, there are few additional options that you can see at the top of that line chart. When you put your cursor, it is going to show you. It is showing drill up, then drill down. Then third option is go to the next level. This is expand all down one level in the hierarchy. This is a fork, a partition fork that you can see. Now, once I click on it, can you see? It says sum of amount by year and quarter. When I click on it further, it shows me sum of amount by year, quarter, and month. Now, I will keep it this way for your visualization purpose as of now. Color changing and all you have understood, so I'm not repeating it anywhere. One more interesting feature I would like to show you over here for this particular chart, line chart especially. Now, let us say you present this report to somebody. I mean, you present your dashboard to somebody, and somebody asks you that, okay, I can see in your report that the sales have declined starting when we started, it was at a very good number. Then the sales has started declining. Can you tell me the reason why it happened? Now, in Excel and other platforms, you have to see it manually, or you have to go through the entire report or analyze, okay, why must it have happened? But here in Power BI, AI plays the role in terms of analysis. Now, how to do that? Wherever you want to have your analysis, like I want to have it here first because the sales have decreased, and I want to understand why the sales have decreased, right? So, what do you need to do? Right click on this particular thing, and here you will have one option called Analyze. Now in Analyze, what I want to explain why this has decreased. I mean, why the sales have decreased. So I'll click on Explain the decrease and just wait for a few minutes. It is going to give you the analysis over here. Now, can you see? In terms of decrease, there are many visuals appearing for analysis. So here it says that if you look at it starting from January 1, 2022 to February 1, 2022, the sales were increasing. If I count individual products, then milk bars, dark bars, and milk bars and dark bars gave me a good increase. But because the rest of the product had a decline in their sales, like Baker's Choco Chip has declined, Dark and Pure has declined, After Nines had declined, other chocolates have also declined. So that is why there was a considerable decrease. Now, if you want to pick any of these visuals, in second also, you can see the reasons being mentioned. In third one also, you can see the reasons being mentioned, keeping keeping different countries in mind. Now, every analysis gives you some different perspective. So if you see the second one is giving you the analysis in terms of salesperson. You can see the names on the x-axis over here. Same way, if you go for the third one, you want to see that who has performed better, who was able to sell more products, right? So you can have it in terms of number of salesperson also. Third analysis is showing you country wise, which country has shown decrease in number of boxes sold, which country has shown increase in the number of boxes sold. So this way you can pick up any analysis. If you want to include all, you can include all also in your dashboard. So let us say I want to go for this one, the last one. Now here, when you want to add any analysis to your report, there is a plus sign on the right top corner. Just click. And let me just come out of it. You can see I have added it twice. So you can see over here, this analysis has also been added. So this again is a very good and interactive feature in Power BI that can give you real-time analysis also on the basis of your data. You don't need to go manually into the data and see, okay, you will apply filters, then you will check which person has the highest sale, which person has the lowest sale. So here it can do this task on its own. Again, one good and important feature of Power BI. Okay, before I show you a few more things, any doubt till here to anybody? Anything you would like me to repeat? All clear? Good. I hope you are actively engaged in understanding how to make use of Power BI. As I mentioned, that this is much easy to use as compared to Excel and the features inside Excel that are available. It is easy and more visually appealing as compared to Excel, right? Okay, if we want that Australia bar in the middle of the chart, then you need to rearrange, right? Because if you want to have it completely, like you can select it, then but you need to make the rearrangements accordingly because these numbers, I mean, these plottings have been done in a decreasing order, right? So highest being at the topmost place. So that is why you have it here. Now, few other things that you can do. So till here, what we done so far is we have created three different kind of charts. I showed you how these charts are related to each other and they can interact with each other. Right now, also you can see the moment I selected USA, the chart stats and everything are going to change. Even the analysis is going to change over here, right? The moment I selected New Zealand, again, the analysis and everything changes. So this way you have that real-time interaction. Also, I told you if you want to have the analysis, particularly in line graphs, how you can do that. You just simply need to be on that point, click, right click, analyze. Now here, like, because the graph has increased, so it is going to explain the increase for you, right? So this way you can have your things over here. Now, other than that, again, the way we have created slicers and filters in Excel, you can also have slicers and filter over here. Changes, I already told you, I mean the color changes and the appearance changes that you can do. In terms of filters, let us say I go with the first one itself. So the moment I selected this one on the right hand side, right panel, you can see filters, right? Now it says filters on this visual, filters on this page, and filters on all visual. Because today I am telling you how to use it for the very first time because many of you are new. So I am not going to go with all the kind of filters, right? The last filter that we have, we usually use that when we have more than one pages of report, right? Because this is an entire dashboard page that we have created. So you have this another option as well, filters on this page. Now filters on this particular visual, this particular chart that I have selected over here. So it says country, right? Now here, if you want to select any particular country, you can. So it is going to give that bar. Like if you want more than one country also to have the comparison, you can do that as well, right? If you want to go for advanced filtering will give you few more options. Like it says, show items when the value contains or does not contain or starts with. Let us say I go with starts with, and I write over here U, and I write apply filter. So you can see UK and USA because these countries are starting with U. So you can have some kind of advanced filtering options as well. Now, when you have top N, if you want to have some kind of items from the top or from the bottom, you need to mention that data field over here. Like you want to have it in terms of the boxes shipped. How do you want to go about it? You want to select that, right? Now, again, let me just repeat this for you one more time. So when you click on any filter, they will give you basic filtering also, like you do in Excel. They can give you advanced filtering options too. Other than that, I want to apply the filter on sum of boxes shipped. Okay. Now it says show items when the value is less than. So if you want to have any kind of value, let us say I want to have items where the value is less than 50,000. and I apply this filter. Now, if none of the things are appearing, that means let me just remove this filter first. So we are going to select everything one more time. And I go for 30,000. Now you can see these are all the items where the shipment of boxes is less than 30,000. So you can have such kind of filters for all your products over here, for all your charts that you are creating. Again, when you'll be selecting out of filtered chart also, you are going to have the interaction live, right? Now, coming to slicers. And you will also see which filters have I applied by clicking over here. So you can see the filter that I have applied, this funnel shape thing is filter. So you can see the filter that I have applied is boxes shift is less than 30,000, right? Now, I have cleared the filter. So there is an eraser icon with the help of which you can clear the filters. So I have cleared all these filters from here. Now, if you want to apply filters on this entire page, right? For that, you need to see, for example, I filter this entire page, let us say by boxes shipped. Now, again, you can have the limitation, I mean the filtration criteria over here. So showing items when the value is less than this. So if I right now, if I write the same number and click on apply filter, now here, few changes you will see, few you will not see, depending upon the column or the value that is common to both the things over here. Now, if you want to have more filters to be added, you can do that. On page filter, on all pages filter, we are not using right now because we have only one page. I have created only one page report, so I'm not going to go for any other kind of filter over here. Now coming to slicers. After I tell you the slicer part, I'll tell you how to save that and how you can publish that for other people to use. And then we will be moving forward to your project part, okay? Now here, for your slicer part, in all the visualization options, the build visual options that you have, you will see a funnel-like thing towards the last row of your visuals, which is your button slicer. Now, the moment you clicked on that button slicer, you can see there is a new thing on my screen. Sum of boxes shipped by country. Because in my field, country is there. Let me just clear it out. Right now, there are no fields added. So this slicer is blank. Now, if I want to filter it out by country, I can add that. So you can see there is a visual filter over here. The moment you select any country, it is going to show you the visuals accordingly. I think by mistake, I deleted the first one. No issues. We will recreate that. Now the countries I'm choosing, the visualizations are changing. So the purpose of slicer over here is also the same like we had in Excel, right? So you can have the slicer, you can choose which fields you want to get the slicer through, and you can show it with the help of that. There are different varieties of slicers also that we can create, but we are not taking that for today's session because I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. I want you to process what we are doing as of now. And wherever you have those slicers applied, right, you will be able to see. Now, just so your slicers are working fine. The filtering techniques that I show you, everything was working fine till then. So with this, your dashboard is ready. Okay. We can again plot that column chart. I guess I deleted it by mistake. No issues. Now this is your Power BI dashboard, which we have prepared. Time to share your dashboard. How to do that? One way is basic saving portion, like you go to file or you go to the save option over here, you give your file the name and then you save. So if I write dashboard Power BI, I can just simply save my file, right? There will be a default location. If you want to change that location where your file will be saved, you can do that as well, the way you normally save in other platforms too. Now, coming to real-time collaboration by other members of your organization or maybe by other employees, then how you do that? Before that, let me just have few queries. How to see data quarterly in line chart, please repeat. Okay. In paid version, what kind of features are available, ma'am? For that, last year we need to have the paid version. So in paid version, basically the real-time sharing options, those increase, they give you more flexibility in terms of sharing. So that is one important feature that you have. There are more AI-enabled features that you have that you can use in paid versions. And can we use Power BI because I have Macs or tablet? Yes, Ritik, you can, no issues. Let me just show you how to see that quarterly data. These are few things that I can see. So for quarterly data, you will go to this tuning fork over here. So once you select this, you have this fork, partition fork over here, right? So the moment you create a line chart, there are certain additional options given to you because line charts are usually to cater your progress, to just see the progress graph. So in this partition graph, once you click over here, it will keep changing. So when I'll drill up, because I already created that. So once I drill up, from here we started the single point. Then I did this partition. So it says sum of amount by year and quarter. Then I again clicked on this partition fork. It says sum of amount by year, quarter, and month. So this is how you can make changes to your line graph, right? Now, time to publish your Power BI dashboard. So for publishing, you can simply click on this publish option. You can publish it in Power BI online services from where people can access your dashboard if you have created something very good and you want to share. But for that, you need to sign in. So that's why I just showed you in the beginning that if you wish to sign in, you can sign in with your account and then you can go for publishing your dashboard. Okay. Now, when we want to go back to the home page, we are already on the home page. So you can simply go to file. You can simply go to blank report over here and a new screen, no new home screen will be there for you. So you can import a new data set, you can work with that data set, you can make changes to the data set, you can apply filters, and you can see how your dashboards are going to look like. Okay. So with this, we complete our hands-on session over here. Now, few more things that I wanted to showcase before we move on towards the end of the session. Please don't leave the session. There are few things that I wanted to showcase to you over here. So this I already told you how you can add filters and slicers to the data that you have in Power BI. Now, with the help of this visualization tool, you can make your charts speak, right? You can add more interactive details. If you want to have some changes in the labeling, like I told you how to format. So you can do that. You can have the colors. For every Power BI dashboard, or even if a dashboard you are creating with using some other tool, they tell a story, right? So this visualization is nothing but a storytelling technique for you in the form of visuals, in the form of reports that you will be sharing with the people. So you need to have your data first of all, then you need to think and you need to figure out what am I going to do with my data. So we will be talking about projects. Before I go with projects, I hope the hands-on that I did in today's session is clear to everybody. This is just one or two examples. Don't think these are the only two projects that I'm going to give you. Few practical applications of Power BI before I move to the explanation of project part. Like if I talk about healthcare, this Power BI can be used to track patient outcomes. Then we want to allocate certain kind of resources, we can do that. And if I want to see that, okay, if let us say a new kind of treatment has been put in place and I want to see the effectiveness of treatment, that how with time it has progressed, whether people are accepting that kind of treatment, their bodies are responding to that kind of treatment. So I can do that with the help of Power BI. I can create a report based on the same. You can go for retail, you can make utilization of this tool in finance, right? So these are few things. Few key takeaways from our session. So we have seen how visualization of your raw data can give you meaningful insights. Second thing that we focused on tools. So Excel for showing you the basic kind of chart preparations. Also, I showed you the basics of Power BI for today's session to create one interactive dashboard. Then your visualizations can tell a lot of stories, and obviously design matters a lot. So it's not like that you wanted to create a dashboard and you just created it and showed it to us or showed it to somebody. You need to have the clear visual representation of what you are doing, everything in place, properly colored and everything, that is look visually appealing to the eyes, I mean. Okay. Now, coming to the project thing, let me just share that sheet. Okay. So as I said, these are few recommendations that I have in terms of project. And Tanuja already mentioned you in the beginning of the session that you have to complete these projects by 30th of July. Okay. And she also has one format. I will show you about that format also, in which format you are expected to submit your projects to us, where to submit it, how to submit it, that Tanuja will be able to give you a better clarity. So let us discuss few things that I have in terms of projects today. We will be sharing this sheet with you, I mean the list of suggested projects, so that you can have a look. Few things that are journal guidelines for all of you. So for cleaning your data, you will be making use of Excel, I mean for the basic profiling and initial screening of your data. Then if in the project you are creating a dashboard, I would strongly recommend that you use Power BI for creating your dashboards and visual reports. So in terms of submission, other than following the format of submission that we already have, as a proof of the work being done originally by you, we will be needing your Excel sheet with clean data. I will be needing your Power BI files, and you can also include the screenshots, but screenshots only will not do. I will be requiring your Power BI file links, and there will be certain summaries of the slides and the other slide formats that we have, right? I'll show you in a while. So let us talk about the first project that I have over here. So in total, I have created 20 projects for your reference. Now here, if you see, I gave you the task of student performance analysis, and we have to analyze academic scores. With every project, I have mentioned the tasks that are expected to be done. Like the first thing that you can see is clean and organize the data. Then once this data is clean and organized, you have to calculate the average, highest and lowest scores, right? So let us say there are 5 subjects. So in that 5 subject, first subject wise create the scores like highest, lowest, average. Then in total, take the highest, lowest, average. In total means total of 5 subjects or 6 subjects, whatever you have. Visualize subject wise and gender wise performance. I have also mentioned which graphs or charts are expected to be used, like using bar and column chart. Then you also use slicers for your gender filters. Like I want to see the performance analysis for females, so I can do it using the slicer, or I want to see performance analysis for males, that then also I can do it using slicer, right? So what is my expected outcome for this project is a Power BI dashboard which is showing performance by subject, class, and gender. Almost with all the projects, I have given links also from where you can download your raw data set. So you can see there is a Kaggle link that I have posted. If you remember, other than Kaggle, there were few more platforms that I showed you when we had our last masterclass, wherein I told you from where you can get that data. So it's not mandatory that you get the data from Kaggle. You can keep it from any other source also. Okay. Uh, Priyal has mentioned a question over here. Can we use Tableau for the dashboard creation? Priyal, if you are good to go with Tableau and you can use that, you can. I don't think there is any sort of issue. You can do that. Anupam has said that we need to send the word file in WhatsApp group. Okay, we'll do that, Anupam. Where to submit the project, that Tanuja will be able to tell you better. Let me just give you a brief, then I'll hand over to her. Now talking about the second project, let us see project 2. So in project 2, we are going to create a retail store sales dashboard. So it says create an interactive sales performance dashboard. First task for every project is almost similar, because till the time you clean the data, you will not be able to utilize that data effectively. So you have to clean your data. Then you need to create your visualizations region wise, product wise, and monthly sales wise. Right. So you can create 3 kind of charts, wherein in one chart you are showing the visualization region wise, like what will the sale. If you are taking one product, let us say for a particular product of a particular retail store, then region wise, what were the sales, then product wise, what were the sales, monthly, what were the sales. And you can use slicer to filter data by region and product category. So how will you create the slicer? I mean, on what basis? That will depend on the kind of data that you will be taking for your analysis. Okay. Same way, if we go for project 3, so I have given COVID-19 trends by country. Again, the instructions have been mentioned for you. how you're going to go ahead with that and how you're going to submit your data, so that everything is mentioned, right? So we will share this list with you. We have in total of 20 projects. I can show you some from the middle as well. Like here you can say mental health in students. So the objective was to explore stress and mental health trends. And there are few tasks given. You can use charts to show distribution of stress levels by age, by gender, and then create your visual report. Now, other than just working on the project, there are few other expectations out of the projects that you will be creating. I'm going to show you the sample format in which we are expecting the project submissions to be done. Let me just share that one. I hope this is visible to everybody. Now here, this is your title slide that you can see, IBM SkillsBuild Decoding Data PBL program. Project presentation, don't include sample. We have added it just to show you this is the sample that you are going to create. So your project name, your team name, your college name, everything needs to be mentioned, that who are the team members. Over here, you need to give an overview. Let me just give you a slideshow. Now in introduction, you are going to give the overview of your project and what is the objective of creating your project. Problem identification. So what is the problem statement, right? Why the data analysis that you are doing, for what purpose are you doing that? What is the significance of that problem that you are going to have the analysis of? Then you need to figure out with SDG it relates to, like just few seconds ago, I showed you that mental stress project, right? So you need to figure out which SDG you can relate it to. So you need to mention over here the relevant sustainable development goal to which your project relates. Okay. Now, in next slide, you are going to have data collection. So what was your source of data collection? Then the description of that data. Like, for example, your data contains 7 columns, right? And the data is like the sample data that I took for today's session was about the chocolate sales in different countries. So that way you need to give description of your data. Then if there are any particular methods that you have followed up for collecting your data, that you need to mention in this particular slide. In the next one, data pre-processing. So you must have cleaned your data, right? So you must have used certain things, maybe filtering that data, removing the redundant values from that data. If you are transforming data in some way, you need to mention your transformation techniques. Along with that, it's not only that you just keep mentioning in terms of theory. If you, it would be great if you can add few screenshots, right? If it is permissible and you can add few screenshots, Tanuja will give you a better idea about it, so you can do that way as well. Then analytical tools that you have used, what were the key finding? Like I told you, you can make use of Power BI to create your dashboard, right? What methods have you used for that creation? Then what are the key findings? Because this is something important we are looking forward to. What are the important outcomes in your data analysis, and what are the insights derived from the data analysis and visualization that you have done? Then hypothesis. So what is your formulated hypothesis for this particular project that you are creating? What is your rationale behind that? Method for testing the hypothesis. What is the proposed solution, your implementation plan? For example, you came up with certain insights, right? Related to that mental health. Let us say you came up with certain insight, and based on those insights that you have, you want to propose some sort of solution, right? So you need to have it over here. What is the proposed solution? How you are going to go ahead with the implementation plan, again, whether it is aligning to SDGs, and if yes, which SDGs it is going to be aligned with. Prominent features of the platform, sitemap. Here you are going to have all your visualizations in place, right? Then the conclusion, screenshot of the web page, impact of the proposed solution, future work. So for the last few slides over here, I mean, starting from this implementation plan and stuff, Tanuja, if you can give them a clear view, like you have mentioned screenshot of the web page, which web page are we talking about here exactly? And then how to add the impact of proposed solution. So if you can just go through, take them through with these few slides towards the end.
Anjali, I will take all of these queries once you will wrap up the session, so you can let me know whenever. Yeah.
Sure. So students, I hope everything that we did in today's session is pretty much clear in terms of hands-on related to your project submission queries, project creation queries, and how you can submit and where you can submit the project. Tanuja will be in a better position to answer all those queries. So I'll hand over it to her now. And again, thank you so much for taking out all the time. And I can see there are many of you who are always actively engaged whenever we take the sessions, whenever we conduct the session, and you keep asking your queries. And I personally, as a trainer over here, I feel too good to see that there are people who are keen to know what am I doing and how they are expected to do that. So thank you so much for that. Tanuja, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anjali, for that wonderful session. And I can see how excited and involved students were throughout the session. So yes, a lot of thank yous coming in for you. I hope you all had a great session. So let's start addressing few of the queries. Yes, I will be sharing this sample PPT with you all in your groups. Okay, that will be shared in your WhatsApp groups. Make sure that you are part of the WhatsApp group. I have already shared a link to one of the latest WhatsApp groups. Please make sure that you join that group. I would request Tanmita to please share the attendance form link here so that you can start filling in your attendance before logging out. As you know that attendance is a very crucial part of the overall marks that will be counted for this program. Okay, I can see questions like how many projects do we have to do? So what Anjali just showed you, it was just a glimpse of the topics that you might want to pick. Okay, it's not like that you have to pick something from this. Maybe that you can pick topics from sustainable development goals. If you pick something from that, it would be great. Of course, these 20 topics that Anjali has shared with you, you can definitely pick anything from there, and you just have to make just one project per team. Somebody was asking, do I have to make it individually or do I have to make it with my team? Of course, it's a team project. You would have seen that it talks about your team's name. That means all of you have to divide your responsibilities amongst your team and make this project. This will be your final deliverable, and it is very crucial if you want to qualify for the pitch night. How many projects do we have to? Are we supposed to do all of the projects? No, you have to select one topic, stick to it, and make the project. And it's a team project. Okay. We will be sharing the sample PPT. Okay. After this call, we will also be sharing a grievance redressal form in the WhatsApp groups. There you will be only the students. Please be mindful, only the students who are facing issues with their learning plan should fill the form. Okay. And we'd be, of course, when you will go through the form, you will see that we have asked you to put in the screenshots of the issues that you're facing in the platform. Please make sure that you put in relevant picture. Okay, so that was regarding the grievance redressal form that will be coming to your WhatsApp groups in a while. Please make sure that you keep a watch on your WhatsApp groups because we will be sharing the LMS link by the end of this week. And now that we have announced all the topics, we have given you all the topics for project, do not wait for the LMS link to come to you. You start working on your projects, okay? You don't have to wait for your learning plan to be submitted to start the project. You can start working on your projects right after this call. Okay, I hope I have answered all the queries. Okay, so there are queries like I had 5 team members, some of them have left. It's okay if they are not participating, we cannot do anything about that. But even if you're 3 members, 2 members, please submit your projects. Okay, that's not a problem. We are ma'am, my one. Okay, so a lot of queries like your team members have left or they're not willing to participate anymore. What you have to do is you keep you keep on going, you complete your learning plan certificate, you do your project either individually if you're left alone in the team. So, because at the end of the day, it's all about learning, okay? So please make sure that you complete your projects. Okay. I'm just reading through reading out some queries and I will answer them. A lot of the queries are about team members leaving. So I've already answered that. I hope you all are filling in your attendance form.
Related to attendance form, there are many messages saying that the attendance form is for Masterclass 2. Can somebody please cross-check that?
Yes, I will. Yes, yes. I just noticed that. Uh, just give me a second. Apart from that, if there are any queries, please, we have four more minutes. We'll try to answer as many queries as possible. Please write it down. Please do not repeat your queries. If you've seen that it has been answered, please, yeah, now you can fill the Google form. It's been updated. Yes. Showing Masterclass 2. It's been updated. Kindly fill it now. How do I address the problems I'm facing in the learning plan? So the learning plan issue, we will be circulating a Google form to get all the queries under one roof. So please make sure that you fill in that form. I can hear you. I understand what you're saying. Kapil and Akshita, they have mentioned that they're facing some issues regarding learning plan. So please make sure that you fill the form that will be circulated in some time. Pitch night date. Okay. Pitch night date will be announced later. Once we are done with the submissions, the last date for project submission for data analytics is 30th July. Please mind it that we won't be extending that date. Tanmita, can we share the attendance form again? Because there have been so many messages. I think students have missed out. Yes, you can fill it again because there was an error. Masterclass 3, fill it for that. Learning plan submission date it will be by the end of this week. Okay, I think we have addressed all the queries. Okay, so we'll be closing now. So please make sure that your learning plan is completed because we'll be sharing the learning plan LMS link anytime soon. Yeah. So the ones who had already filled the form when it was showing Masterclass 2, please make sure that you fill the form again. It has been rectified. So yes, thank you everyone. We're closing the call now. Thank you.